Hi, my name is Wayne Putt and welcome to Ramblings. Ramblings is going to be a new addition to the East Burwood Footy Club in 2013. What we're going to try to attempt is an interview roughly every 2 weeks to keep our members informed and what's going on around the club. Tonight happens to be our first interview and we have our new coach for 2013, Fabian Corelli. Fabian, thanks for doing the interview with us here tonight. It's the first time for anything that we've done anything like this. Yep. Welcome to the East Burwood Footy Club, the home of the mighty Rams.
No, appreciate it. Let's get it right straight off the back. It's Fab. Fab will do, mate. Instead of Fabian.
That suits me
fine. The only bloke that calls me Fabian is my dad, so
okay.
We'll stick to Fab. Get the formalities out of the way.
First of all, your first impressions of East Burwood.
I've been pretty impressed from the start. When you probably as a coach, when you walk in, or an aspiring coach as I am, I'm still young in the caper, but you come to facilities like East Burwood, it's you've got A1 facilities for starters, which is appealing for a coach, and secondly, I've already ran into some great people, as most footy clubs have got, but especially at East Burwood so far, it's been exceptional. So
that's great. Just get a couple of the niceties out the way, I guess. Married with children?
Yeah, no, I've been married 10 years in November, it'll be.
Good thing that's out of footy season.
Well, it is, yeah, no, it was always planned for out of footy season, don't worry. So the wife knew that, when she met me, that all that stuff had to be done outside of football, so that's no coincidence that in the November date. But yeah, and I've got 2 boys, Josh, who's just turned 7 only a few days ago, and Marcus, who's 5.5. So they're keen football or keen sports kids, so they're into everything.
A bit like their dad?
Yeah, a bit like myself. So they'll be regular fixtures at East Burwood games, and they'll no doubt put on a show at all the breaks.
Good on you. Job, what do you do for work?
I work for a company called Siemens. I'm in IT, in the IT industry, so basically I do a lot of server side things in the back end. You don't really hear much from me. I'm the bloke that keeps things ticking over in the background, and but my main responsibility at Siemens is mainly to do with email, so the server side of things of email, and make sure everyone gets email day in, day out, 24/7 as it is.
That's good.
In this day and age. So
okay. Any hobbies outside of footy?
Outside of footy, not really. I just like to keep fit. I hit the gym fairly regularly, probably 2 or 3 times a week. Apart from that, it's getting to the time now where I'm chasing my kids around a fair bit, so they're starting to get active in sports and little aths and swimming. So
why should you be any different?
Well, that's it. So I maintain the philosophy that I've got to try and be young enough to help them around and be there when they say, "Dad, let's go have a kick." So I try and keep myself fit and in good nick for it.
That's good. I understand that probably around the early 2000s you had the opportunity to come and play at East Burwood. You came and trained 1 or 2 nights there.
Yeah.
What happened there?
It's funny. I spent this season in '99 at a club called Tokemore up in the Murray Football League. Previously, before that, to cut a long story short, I got back from Tassie. I had 2 years in Tassie, and I was going through a course where I was at work. I just started at Siemens, but I was doing a course which sent me 3 nights a week from 6 till 10:30, which means I really couldn't train at any club. So I spent a year at Tokemore. And as I come back to Melbourne, the word got out. Alan Richardson called me, who I had a friendship with when I was at Collingwood at the time, and he said, "Come down and have a look at East Burwood." So I actually come down in 2000 and trained with the club about 3 or 4 times. Sat down, had a pretty formal meeting with the guys. The offer was there as well, and I basically had the allure to go back to my home club, which was West Preston Lakeside at the time, and I took that up. So that was probably the only thing that stopped me actually from coming in. As it turned out, that year I missed out on playing in a successful grand final. I went to West Preston and was on the other end of a losing grand final. So, but that led me back to my home club where I spent the next 10 years. So.
Okay, well, just touching on that a little bit, you've had quite an illustrious career, really. You've played under 18s at Collingwood,
yep.
Reserves at Collingwood. You've captained and coached at Westlakes. Is that right?
No, I was an assistant assistant coach for about 5 or 6 years, assistant playing coach, and helped out in the under-19s as well as an assistant coach. So my first official coaching stint was at Montmorency in 2010. So.
Okay. You great honours as a footballer. You won the Northern League Best and Fairest.
Yeah, that was in the 2003 when we won the flag. So I was lucky to win the comp medal and be a premiership captain the same year. So it was a pretty successful year, and at the end of that year also got married. So
big year.
It was a great year for me.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Also a little stint down in Tassie at Devonport.
That's
is that
right.
They
Yeah,
won the league Best and Fairest down there also.
Yeah. I got a call to go across to Tassie, and believe it or not, the call come into the trainers room when I was actually training at Preston. I was at Preston at the time in the VFA, back then as it was, and the call come in to actually from a bloke from Devonport who wanted to speak to me and try to get me to their club. So I thought that was the strangest way that anyone's ever made contact to me, actually while I was at training at a club that they're trying to get me to. But anyway, I ended up going across to Tasmania for 2 years. Yeah, I did win a comp medal. I'm lucky enough to play in finals for both years at Devonport, and got to play with a bloke called Wayne Wiedemann who was at the Crows. I don't know if you remember him, a long-haired bloke, left footer. Struck up a pretty good friendship with him, and we're actually still friends to this day. So it was a good stint over there.
Footy's very good for that sort of thing, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it's great. You meet some many good people.
Okay. Philosophy on footy. What would you say is your main philosophy on footy and going into life in general itself?
I think I'm just a big I preach a lot on the work hard philosophy, and I still believe to this day that the harder you work, the luckier you are going to get. So I preach that in my work life, my family life, and I preach to these guys here at East Burwood as well. Because fitness becomes a level in all things, whether that's mental fitness or physical fitness, and if you're on top of your game, you're able to compete at all levels, I believe.
Okay, you obviously love the game, so you now get your footy fix through coaching. What do you love most about coaching?
I get off still on the one-on-one contact, but I think just being around a football club to me is very important. It's been part of my life for so long. I'm one of those guys that very rarely has made an excuse through his life not to miss training. I still preach that you can't find a better environment where you can get 40, 50 blokes all together in 2 nights a week, 3 nights a week, and game day, and just get together and be with your mates. And that bond and that glue of a football club just is a great allure to me, and that's what keeps me involved in the game. And obviously you've got a passion for the game and you love it, and that passion's now drawn me to coaching. Now my playing career's come to a close, so.
Well, that's debatable.
Oh no, I'm done. I know Windy's trying to get me to have a run around the twos, but I don't think I'll get out there this year. I just did my hamstring. I played 20 years of football, never did a hamstring or a calf, and 3 nights ago I did my hamstring at training, so I think I'm getting too old now.
Okay, I imagine over the time you've had some interesting coaches, and I understand Matty Larkins was one of them. We had Matty here back in early 2000s with Paul Broderick, I understand, and he was an assistant coach then. So, is there anyone that you've sort of modelled your coaching on, or taken any ideas from, or anything along those lines?
Yeah, I've had some good characters. With Larks, he's a real deep thinker of the game. Actually, he probably taught me about having attention to detail, even though sometimes Larks may not come across like that, but his attention to detail in regards to the way he sets up for a game, was pretty much first class, and I reckon I took that from him, and I've gained that from him. There's been various things from different people, even back to Keith Burns when he was coaching me in under-19s at Collingwood. He had a hard-line approach, but it was always fair, and he gave everyone an opportunity and a second chance to come good, and I definitely bring that into my coaching as well. So there's been numerous things, but you do take a little bit off different people that you learn along the way, and you try and incorporate that into your own style.
Okay, going back to your playing days and the modern game today, what are the big changes that you see in the game today?
Well, obviously, we're now going, I think, a more so a fast-paced moving game. Everything evolves from the top level down eventually. You see systems now coming in the local footy where teams are running zones and presses, and it's very difficult to incorporate at this level still because of the time that we have on the training track. But you just see there's a lot more emphasis to me that we want to move the ball quick. You want it to become attractive. You want to play a good brand of footy that your supporters want to come and watch, because in the end, all clubs are out here to survive. You need to generate support, sponsorship, and if you can play an attractive game of football, I believe that you can draw in those crowds and you can draw in that sponsorship and help the club generate the funds that are needed to keep it ticking over.
Okay, the group that we have at the moment, how do you think they're travelling at this stage? It's a long pre-season, and like numbers up and down and all that sort of thing. So how do you feel the group's travelling at the moment?
I think we're about where we need to be in regards to the capacity I think I can get out of this group. Obviously it's unfortunate we've lost a few players this year, but we've still got a fairly strong core of players who, from what I've seen so far, their fitness levels are up near every other club I've been to in the elite class, especially a few blokes as it is. But the thing that I've taken out from this group this year, and and I appreciate their feedback, is they feel like they're a lot fitter than they have been over the last few years, and this is no detriment to the past coaches. It's just my philosophy, my program that I've brought in, and as I said earlier, if we can get our fitness levels up and we compete for longer and deeper into games, and that's what I'm after. Expectation for me this year with the group, are we going to be thereabouts knocking on the finals doors? I hope so again, but what I'll try and bring to this group is a competitive nature that we'll be able to sustain for a whole year.
Oh, excellent. Outside looking in, what are your impressions of the EFL? Have you been aware of the EFL in the past, like coming from the northern districts and that sort of thing? Have you been in touch with the EFL? You're aware of the stiff competitiveness? I'm sure it's the same in the northern, but it is very, very tough competition.
It is, yeah. I'm a keen, avid footy follower, so I tend to stick my nose in papers and websites and look at results year in, year out, and it's well known that the EFL's been a very strong comp, and it's probably tier one. It's at the top level of most of the metro comps, I believe. From what I've seen a few games over the last few years. The odd games, the strong games. Gone to watch a Vermont here and there, and I've seen the scores we play over the last few years. Even played against Bourne in practice games, and while I was at Montmorency, and we got a good touch up on one of those occasions. So I understand that the comp's very strong, and it probably is classed as the best metropolitan comp in the state at the moment. And you can see by the list of recruits that have gone in a lot of other clubs, and the standard of the grand final last year just goes to show where this competition's at, and you can see it only going to get stronger.
Yeah, it's a very tough competition. Rivalries, I'm not too sure how they were over in the Northern League, but just about everyone loves to beat East Burwood. We've got our rivalries against Vermont and East Ringwood and Noble Park and Baldwin and things like that. Does that sort of thing really stir the heart, and to sort of does it lift you that these games sort of you get something extra out of these sorts of things?
Oh, I think once I get into it, I'll sense the anticipation of the club once these rivalry games come up. But they do. I reckon it must be the black and white, because every black and white club I've been to, everyone seems to hate the black and white, and it doesn't matter what it is. Montmorency were the same. They had that many rivals, and I think it was purely because there was Collingwood colours over there, and I tip it down to black and white here at the Rams. So, once I get that sense of anticipation that it's going to be a real rivalry game, then I'll get the nerves and the jitters, and I'll psych myself up for it as well. So you just can't help but not get involved and caught up in the hype of it.
Well, I can promise you that a Vermont win is as good as a grand final here. So the celebrations are good, hard and strong, and I'm sure, you know, if we're lucky enough to for that to happen this season, you'll certainly understand the feeling and the meaning of beating a Vermont.
That'll be good. I look forward to that beer afterwards then.
Just to roughly finish off, I just got some, you know, some short questions and just some nice, simple, short answers, and we'll finish it off.
No worries.
Your date of birth?
1973.
What was your nickname when you were playing?
Diesel.
What's your best memory?
2003 grand final, holding up the cup.
What's your worst memory?
Probably the 2000 grand final, and also losing the under-19s grand final for Collingwood.
Your favourite holiday destination?
I'd still love getting down to Rosebud Beach, down to Macrae.
What would be your dream holiday?
Dream holiday? Yeah, I've sent my wife to New York, so I dare say from the stories I've got, I'd love to go to New York.
What do you like to do in your spare time?
Spare time, I'm a family man, so I love spending with my boys.
What's your favourite food?
Favourite food? Ravioli.
Favourite drink?
Favourite drink, Corona.
Corona.
Yeah.
Which AFL team do you follow?
No, I don't really follow one, but you know, if I've got to say one, it'd be Carlton at this stage.
Best player you've ever seen?
Best player I've ever seen, they have to be Paul Roos and Craig Bradley.
Best player you've played against?
Played against? Oof. Geez, that's a tough one. There's a few players. Played against Justin Murphy, who was a tough opponent. There's a bloke called Danny Nolan who plays for Heidelberg, who's probably one of the tougher ones I've been up against in my time.
What is your pet hate?
Pet hate? Blokes who are late.
What's your favourite word?
Favourite word? Passion.
What's your least favourite word?
Least favourite word? Oh, you might have me there, Putt. Mate, I haven't got one at the moment. I'll have to get back to you on that eventually.
If you had the opportunity to invite 3 special guests along to dinner, who do you think you'd invite?
To dinner? Paul Roos would be one. I'd have to say Jennifer Hawkins. I'd have to say Maria Sharapova.
Nice choices.
Nice choices.
And I pray to God you don't get this one wrong. Who's the president of the East Burwood Footy Club?
I haven't got that one yet. John Sword.
Okay. Well, a word of advice to our members and to everyone out there, and to yourself. You know, get used to singing the club song. You know, get to learn it, because I've got a funny feeling we're going to be hearing quite a bit of it this season.
Mate, I hope so too, mate.
Fabian, thanks very much for the first interview, and good luck for season 2013.
Cheers, appreciate it, mate.